Hi everybody, it's Sharon from Sassy Studios. I've come this morning to just give you a little tutorial on my take of something I learned from somebody else, and I think it was treasure books, but I really don't know that for sure. I watch so many different videos that sometimes I lose track. Some of my favorites that you might want to check out are treasure books. That's G.I. Kerr, K-E-R-R. And on G. Kerr, she also has a Facebook group that's a pretty neat group called Happiness in Crafting. And every Friday there's a Friday freebie. Some really neat stuff and just some great tutorials. Just so happens that her aesthetic and mine are really similar, so I'm kind of drawn to hers. Other ones, though, that I watch are I think it's called 49 Dragonflies. There's Dear Julie Julie. Julie also has a Facebook page, and in that every month she has a different journal challenge, and within the journal challenge she has some mini challenges, so it's kind of a fun group to get in if you kind of like some prompts sometimes on what you want to journal and so forth. Gail Agostinelli, I probably am not pronouncing that right, but Gail is she's got a big following and she does lots and lots of neat stuff too. Artie Mays is another, and I could go on and on. Paper Outpost is another one that I follow all the time on Facebook, and she also has great tutorials and some little challenges within hers too. Other places I am on Facebook it's called Printables, and those are all copyright free things that people on there post for others to use. And there's My Porch Prints. They have some neat stuff. All these places have Etsy shops too. Some of them have websites and newsletters and all kinds of stuff. So if this is what your interest is, get on YouTube and put in junk journals, and there's just a million things that'll pop up, and you're sure to find somebody that has the same aesthetic that you do. I am amazed at how relaxing this is, and how you get caught up in this and just enjoy spending your time doing it. A little bit about me: I'm an artist. I like to do all kinds of things. I paint, I sew, I junk journal. I just do a lot of different things, and I find that it's really relaxing. Right now, my daughter and her two children, 11 and 14 months, live with us, and my daughter's an RN. So we have the kids quite often, like 3 days a week, and I'm a little old to be taking care of a 14-month-old. I'll be honest, she's as sweet as she can be, and so is my grandson. I love the time I get to spend with him, but I kind of need some of this downtime, and I like to spend it with my junk journaling. So here we go with our tutorial today. This is what I've come up with. My take on, like I said, somebody else's. I made a closure that's magnetic. I kind of got stuck in a rut of just doing string or ribbon closures. This is made out of one piece of 12 by 12 paper. I think you could really use any size paper you want to, as long as it's a square. It needs to be a square. You'd have to have kind of a large journal to put this in, or it can be standalone. But the way this is made, we've got it folded, we've got 6 pockets. We could easily have 7. I could have put something right here or somewhere on here and made another pocket here. I didn't choose to do this. This paper pack I've had forever. I have no idea where I bought it. All the paper I get is usually it's on sale, Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Tuesday Morning or wherever. The tutorial I originally watched said not to use cardstock, and of course, me being me, I did use cardstock. There's a reason that they tell you not to, and it's because some of it can crack. I purposely left this so you can see it. That didn't bother me. I like the paper so much, and I like the structure of it, that I decided I could overcome that. And I think I'm probably going to just take some ribbon and go right over the top of that. I think it'll look nice, and it'll take care of that little bit of problem there. You could also use washi tape. You could use a variety of things. You could even just take your ink and your dauber and just ink it, and that hides a multitude of things. But okay, here we go. There's a pocket in the front, pocket here, pocket here, pocket here, pocket here, and as you can see, these are large tags. And then another pocket in the back. Again, I could have easily turned this way or this way and made even another pocket if I wanted to do that, or if you want to do that, or if you'd rather not have that little angle pocket, you could do this and have a pocket this way. So make it your own. It's just fun. Make it your own. So this was one of them that I made. And here's another one. Same thing with the closure. Pocket here. This one though, I ended up making a little booklet so that you've got more journaling space. And the pockets on this one are at the top instead of the bottom. These I also made flips so that you have more journaling space. These pockets are so large, they'll hold a multitude of things. So you could put a lot of stuff in there if you want to. That's why I think this would be great to just use on its own. And again, a pocket in the back. That's kind of glued shut, it looks like. There you go. And I think I really might like to just do what I said and turn that into this kind of pocket, because I think it'd be a lot safer than this right here. But it's all up to you. These words, these were part of that G. Kerr's Happiness and Crafting Friday freebie. This came with a really neat little tutorial that I may end up doing later. But the other thing that I think you should keep in mind that you can do if you use Excel or Word or any type of program like that, it's really easy to go in and type up your own words. Save them with one font, change them to another font, change the sizes of them, make some bold, and you can even type up little sayings. There's tons of them that you can find that are copyright free, and make really neat cards with minimal expense and just a little bit of time on your part. So that's something you might think about doing. The other thing that I do a lot of times is I take my scraps and I'll put them all together, just glue them every which way on a paper, and then I'll use that for cards and tags later. Okay, let's get started on this. As I said, this is the pack that I chose to use. I've had this forever and ever. Now what you want to do, we want to decide how we want this to be oriented. I've decided these are the parts I want to flip like this. Let me get this. These are the parts that I want to be like this. Okay, so that leaves my bird, and it leaves this to be on my inside. So that's what I'm choosing to do. I believe I'm doing a little different than the original tutorial. I came in from the corner 4 1/4 inches. that worked for me to give me the size that I wanted. Now if you end up using an 8x8 or a 10x10 or something smaller, then you're going to want to adjust that a little bit and make a few this way. Then you can figure out how you can adjust it the way you want to. So 4 1/4 and 4 1/4 and 4 1/4 and 4 1/4, and these are on opposite ends, and these are the ends that I want folded. I'm going to lose what's here because that's going to be hidden. Okay, so when I do that, I'm going to take my ruler and I'm just going to go to, I'll put it this way so you can see, to where that mark is. See this mark and this mark? I'm going to fold that up. I'm going to have to do it on this side though so I can see where they are, but I'm going to take this, fold it up, and just kind of train that paper that that's where I want it to be folded. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm looking for the end of my mark there, the end of my mark here, and that's where I'm going to fold it. Again, I'm doing it on this side so I can see, and you probably can't, but there we go. Okay, now I've got that part. This is going to end up being like this and like this. Okay, the other thing that I'm going to do now, I still use those same 2 marks, only this time I'm going to that mark, I'm going to that mark, and I'm folding these up, these ends up. So here I am on this mark, here I am on this mark, and there I am folding that up. Do the same thing with the other end. The end of this mark, the end of this mark. Folding that up. Okay? Now in doing this, I can see most of this, well, it doesn't make any difference how it goes. But these are going to be to the inside, and I really want my bird, I don't want my bird upside down. So this is going to determine, I also don't want it covered up. So this means I'm going to have these pockets be down below. I can't have them be upper pockets, or my bird's going to be upside down. So that's really the only consideration you have to take on when you choose what paper you want. Now I've got these, I kind of know what I've got going on here. I also know I don't want white spaces. I don't want this and I don't want this. I went ahead and got some dictionary pages ready. I got this dictionary at one of our local thrift shops. This thing is fantastic. It's huge. It's got old weathered pages, and it was 50 cents. Probably the best buy I've ever made. I like the dictionary paper. I like the vintage look, so this works for me. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this just like this. If I don't get it all the way to the edge, that's where you come in with your ink and go around the edge, and again, you can hide a lot of things with that. But that should cover the inside and the outside. To do this, I'm going to use my glue stick. I always keep an old catalog here. I like Craft Bond, Elmer's Craft Bond. It's a permanent bond. I have found this to be good. Every glue stick, they're not equal. You try the ones, you come up with your choice. I don't try to tell people what to buy. I tell them what I like. And what I found on this, it has good staying power, and some glue sticks don't. I have used some that later they come up, and if I'm giving a gift to somebody, I really don't want that to come apart later on them. So I like this glue stick, and I don't like to use wet glue on something like this because it makes it kind of want to curl up, and I don't really want that curl. And I really don't want that crease either, so I'm going to see if I can pull that back up. That's the other thing. You got a little bit of wiggle room with your glue stick that you don't always have with art glitter glue. That's one of my favorites. But you don't always have some playroom with that without maybe causing you a little trouble. Now you can see I didn't get to all the edges there. So I'm just taking my ink and going over that just to kind of make that all blend in. I'm using a permanent ink. This one happens to be StazOn, and it's Timber Brown. But that's completely up to you. So now I've got this. When I turn this way, when I turn it this way, that's what I'm going to have. You also kind of want to make sure that your words are right side up, and I lucked out on that because I forgot to look, but it is right side up, so that's a good thing. Okay, now I've got this next one, and I don't need this as long as I've got it. One of the tools that I kind of like to use is this tearing roller. You don't have to have all these special tools. You can tear things with your hands. We could cut this with scissors. It really doesn't make any difference. I got this tearing ruler, and I actually kind of like it, so I do use it. But like I said, it's not something that you have to have. Now, did I mess up? I sure did. So let's see. I gotta have a bigger piece, so let me go back to my dictionary because I tore that too small. Okay, so I'm going to tear this off and try this again. Now, one thing I do like to do, I keep the top edges of these papers because sometimes, well, I don't think I want underwear on there, but unflinching, I might like that. I also might like this 408 on something. So I usually keep these. They can make neat borders. You can cut just the words out. It's also, if I have something like this, I'll cut that out sometimes and just stick that on for just a little piece of interest on some ephemera. This paper is really good to stamp on because it's just a needled paper, and you can stamp words and use those later. So there's just a lot of different things that you can use this for. For 50 cents, I think that's a pretty good deal. And like I said, you could cut this, you can tear it yourself, you can do whatever you want. Okay, that's going to be a little better. Let's kind of get it going in the right direction. And let's make sure we're going to get what we need. And we are. So I should be safe enough to go ahead and maybe just tear it there. And now I'll glue this down. You might want to just check your words. I didn't check my words. I wouldn't be completely mortified if underwear came up, sticking up there. It's not something I necessarily choose, but if it did, then oh well. It's a necessity in life, right? Alright, so there we go. So now I've taken care of my white space, and as I said, I like to keep an old catalog. You can see when they get too gluey, I just flip it over. I used to work at a school as a secretary, and my goodness, we got so many catalogs, it just was hard to throw them all away, but you ended up having to. But I brought a lot of them home just for this very reason, to use them to glue stuff down. Now I need to find my I need to get my spine. To get my spine, I'm going to go to these two corners and fold this in half and hope to get it pretty close. If it's not as close as I want, which this is kind of off, I can always trim it. I can ink it. I can do all kinds of stuff. So there we go. Now we're going to start making our actual little booklet. So now that I've got this, I got all my folds where I want them. Let's use the bone folder, and this is a good tool. It's not something you have to have. I could use the end of my scissors. I could use a popsicle stick. I could use a plastic knife. I could use all kinds of different things. I'm not going to worry about trimming this right now. If I want to, I can later. Well, I may. Just kind of trim this little piece up right here. Once in a while I get them perfectly straight, but a lot of times they just don't tear exactly straight, or fold, I'm sorry, exactly straight. And it might be me, if you can imagine that. But like I said, I could always go back and get that ink dauber at the end and take care of that. Now, one reason they tell you not to use cardstock is because, like I said, you might end up getting some crack here, and it might want to tear on you. That's where I come back when I'm all finished. I might put a spine on it with this. I might use washi tape and do a spine with washi tape. I could cover that with material. I could do all kinds of things, so I'm not concerned about that. Now I'm going to take my other folds that I have, and I'm just going to burnish those down so I have a really good fold. And as I said, for me this was 4 1/4. If you use a smaller one, it might be different. Okay, my next fold is right here, and it actually kind of looks like a big envelope. Which you could make it into a big envelope if you wanted to, but then this one, turn it over, and here we go. And that's really your whole base. Now I'm going to turn this, fold this way. This is the other thing about using cardstock. It's a little harder to fold. But as I said, I still like what I get. Now this paper is pretty plain. This one was had a little more color to it, and the inside I thought really popped. The other one, it had a little more interest on the cover too. But you can take this and make it much more attractive. Okay, I'm not going to worry about the front right now. And again, this is where I'm getting a little bit of crack on that. I don't care, but if you do, don't use cardstock. Okay, now we're going to start gluing. Now, most of the time I use art glitter glue for stuff. On this, because it is cardstock and a little harder to glue, a little stiffer, I'm going to go ahead and use my Fabri-Fix Fabri-Tac 3-in-1. Whatever you really want, you just want a good strong glue. This is a clear silicone glue, and I'm going to go right down that center crease. I'm doing this one first because I know that this is what I want to be on top. If my design was better here, I could put this on the bottom and this on top. And it looks like I didn't get that glued very well. Okay. Now when we're ready for this, and this one, your pocket is going to be at the bottom, we want to kind of see where we need to glue to. I'm going to put a little mark right there where you can't see it, but it lets me know I want to glue down to there. Same thing on this side. I don't want that to show, although I could do it and then erase it. I don't happen to have a very good eraser, so I'm not going to do that. But this lets me know that I not only want to put a bead of glue right down the center again, but I also want to start here. Don't get it on the inside, only on that outside edge, because you don't want to glue your pocket shut. And then down to there. Another thing, be sure you put your lid back on your glue. Glue's expensive, so I try to be careful with that. I'm going to pull this down to the center. Then I'm also going to come down and press that glue on the inside. I want to be sure that I didn't get that glued here. So make sure that that isn't stuck down there, and then give it a minute to dry. Okay, there's our inside. Now the outside, you can do some different things. If you want your tag, or your tag or pocket to be at the top, then glue this part right here. If you'd rather have it be at the bottom, then glue this part right here. If you want it to be more like a belly band, you could just glue this part. So it's kind of up to you. If you don't want any pocket here, you can glue the whole thing. I like this bottom, so that's what I'm going to glue this right along here. Now I do see that I've got a little bit of that white showing, so before I do that, I'm going to ink this. Because like I said, that hides a lot of stuff. And I'm already going with a vintage theme, so it fits right along with that. I can also come along, it's about time to replace this dauber, I think, but I can come along and do that too. on both sides. It defines it and adds a little bit of interest. So I've already done it here. I might hit that just a little bit more. And then, since I did it on one side, I probably should do it on the other. Okay. Now in the back, I'm probably going to want my pocket to be at the top, because I think that your stuff will be safer in there that way. So on the front, I'm going to go use my Fabrifix and come right along this line. And like I said, you could use another glue. I could probably use my art glitter glue without any problem. But because this is the cover and it's going to get a lot of wear, I'm thinking I would rather use this. It's a little stronger, maybe. Maybe not. Then this one, I decided I wanted the pocket at the top, so I'm putting that at the bottom. Okay, I have all my pockets made. So there we go. I did, before I started filming, I did go make my tags ahead of time. All I did was take the same paper and cut out tags that would fit. This might be, I don't know, 3 inches or 3 1/8 or something by 3 1/2, something like that. And that can go right there. Let's see. I did ink around all of this. I made this a flip, and that can go right there. Same thing here. Inked around, made it a flip, and that could go here. I made other tags. I don't even know if I need all of them, but let's see. This one, that goes well there. This one, that goes well there. It fits nicely on the back. Probably not. Well, maybe. It could go like that. Or if you don't like that, we could use this, but that's going to be too high.